Hi everyone, we are Go5 and this is our part 1 of our presentation. Today, we will compare weather forecasts from online and broadcast sources we check out. We'll talk about February's weather, including the chance of tropical cyclone entering the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR. As a STEM student, staying on top of weather updates is super important. It helps us understand how weather works and how to be ready for any disaster to stay safe or react quickly when needed.
The website we use is the Manila Times, a reputable news source in the Philippines. The article we reference, One Storm Forecast to Enter PH this February, was published on February 4, 2025.
In the online article, the tone is formal and the content is brief, with minimal explanation. It uses only a static image and requires a subscription to read the full content.
We also use GMA Aggregated News as our broadcast source. The news was streamed on February 4, 2025.
The broadcast was more conversational and detailed, with additional information like temperatures and specific regions affected. The broadcast used moving visuals, graph, and audio to make the report more engaging, and the anchor explained the visual rather than reading everything word for word.
To wrap up, both online and broadcast sources use neutral, fact-based updates from Pag-asa to give accurate and up-to-date forecasts. That's it for part 1. Thank you!
Now, let's proceed to part 2 of our presentation. We chose the Manila as a location, and we chose the face of the Black Nazarene as part of the unique traditions that Manileños does every year.
We found a book titled A Study on Filipino Culture, The Devotion to the Black Nazarene of Quiapo by M. Aguinaldo, ed. Additionally, in internet sources, we used the link from archium.edu.ph. Lastly, for indigenous sources, we went to National Library and asked their available staffs and other residents from Quiapo, Manila about what are their current knowledge about our topic.
We prepared some interesting facts about it, so listen carefully. Based on our indigenous sources, devotees believe that the Black Nazarene can give miracles. Touching the feet brings blessing, holding the robe would lessen sins, touching the face cures illnesses. In a very opposite way, the internet and library sources give the historical and very factual view of reality. Both of these sources claim that the Black Nazarene was originally painted dark brown in Mexico. Basically, the point of our library sources is all about the color and painting materials that the artists use. Walang himala at walang evidence to support na nasunog talaga ang Black Nazarene. On the other hand, all of our sources have similarities. To cut it short, the Feast of the Black Nazarene is basically a tradition of faith and sacrifice. We also took notes of some of the direct quotations from the book claiming that they are devotees of the Black Nazarene dahil ganon ang nakagisna nila and to follow their mother's last request before she died.
Who has access to indigenous media versus internet or library resources? For indigenous sources, only a specific group of people has access. In our topic about the Feast of the Black Nazarene, the indigenous sources will come from Manila residents, especially the Catholics in Quiapo who have directly experienced the event.
The question is, which source provides first-hand and community-based knowledge? The answer is, based on our observation, indigenous source provides more collective knowledge, making it easier to pass on to the next generation. They also have more to say because they have more and many experience about a certain thing.
How is credibility maintained in indigenous media compared to academic sources or mass media? We don't fully trust indigenous media when it comes to credibility. Based on the sources we gathered, indigenous knowledge feels more opinion-based. But when we read books about the Feast of the Black Nazarene, They provide more facts with logical explanations that make sense. One example is the story behind the Black Nazarene Scholar. An indigenous source said it turned black because it was burned several times while being transported on a galleon to Manila. But according to books, the statue was originally painted dark brown by an artist, and over time, it darkened even more. This explanation makes more sense because the statue is made of wood. If it had burned repeatedly, it would have been damaged or completely destroyed.
Number 4. How is knowledge recorded and passed down? The answer is to preserve information for future generations, we can use different methods. Indigenous knowledge is passed down through oral tradition and personal experience. For digital information, people publish and share it online, making it easy to access anytime. In physical libraries, books written by authors are carefully stored on shelves, keeping printed information safe.
And that's all for our short presentation. We hope that you learned something from us. Thank you.